Hey, it's your girl KV back with another review for what we talking about? Love and Marriage Huntsville, season 10, episode 2. I am Knuff. I said, why would they play him like Ken? You see how they playing him? They was wrong for that one. So it starts off with Trisha and Ken on a double date with Reese and Kimmy. And they're essentially getting guidance on how to handle divorce and co-parenting, being in a new relationship and such. I said the optics alone, it's laughable because the way Reese let Kiowa disrespect Kimmy is the way Trisha lets Marquez and Ken disrespect each other, for that matter. So I was like, oh, okay. They start telling them about the last run-in with Marquez and how he bust on in the house, but they're making it seem like Marquez came in on a warpath, like he just came in there on BS. It was really her friend. Like, he came in being extra, but warpath, not really. They make it seem like he was coming at the friend, coming at her neck. I'm like, it was actually the other way around. But okay, it annoys me how Ken and Trisha behave, how they, revise history, how they change the story, leave out the parts where they at fault. Because it's like, we all can see that Marquez is crazy. Like, we don't have to egg it on. We don't have to put no sauce on it. We can all see that he's missing a few screws, just a few screws. So for the way that they antagonize him to make him react, to have this moment of being like, see, it's unsettling. It's like, Trisha, you really came in and fought hard to be the most unlikable on the show. And you're doing absolutely nothing to change your perception or figure out what is going on within this mix of this relationship. Ain't nobody talking about going to no counseling. Ain't nobody talked about really talking to no outside source to get things going. They barely getting the divorce going. So that cracks me up, right? So Ken starts going on about how basically he's the dad. He presents as the dad. The teachers know him. Ask the teachers, they know him. I'm like, okay, did Trisha say thank you, or do you want us to? Like, thanks. Thank you for making sure that these black children don't go part-time fatherless, okay? Martella's at the furniture store. He's looking for some things for Ariane because he gonna move her and her kids into one of his investment properties. Destiny comes to meet him and she's just like, yeah, I need furniture for my storefront as well. She said, remember when she moved into the storage unit, there could be a storefront for Madani where she was making the products. And she was like, well, downstairs they turned it into sweets and shops. And we saw where, yeah, technically downstairs was sweets and shops. So she was thinking about turning hers into that or whatever. Seems like she moved into one of those spaces that is set for a storefront. So now she's getting some furniture for it. Right. I said, okay, Destiny said she got all her irons in the fire, okay? She's a single black mother out here. However she gonna make money, she gonna make money. And I ain't mad at it, right? So he tells Destiny while he's furniture shopping and he's about to move Ariane into his spot. Destiny is gagged. She's like, you finna move into your spot? Y'all finna live together? He's like, oh, no. We ain't finna live together. I'm just finna move her into one of my investment properties. I said, oh, okay. She said, oh, okay. Okay. And so she asked, when do he plan on moving together? He said that won't be until they get married and that he has looked at rings. But then this fool said, it's basically too soon because he is fresh out of a divorce. I said, baby, it's been like 3, 4, 5 years at this point. What you mean you fresh out of a divorce? And then he said something along the lines like he think about her every day or he think about it every day. Sir, you need to go see somebody. You need to go lay back, kick your feet up, stare at the ceiling and spill your guts out. Like, just, yeah. Yeah, you're hurt. You're hurt, sir. So they talk about Lance. She said she gave him an open book test and he failed. Martell said, yeah, I've done that before. And, you know, essentially talking about how he had that baby on her. But I'm like, we all know it was just casual dating. It wasn't really all that deep. But he still could have told her that. And he had a baby on the way. Martell tells Destiny that he gonna coach her on how to find a man. Me and Destiny cackled from the pits of our soul because what you mean you gonna help me find a man, Martell? I don't want nobody that you be running with. I don't want nobody that you would know and hang with. No siree. Scott Manor. So they finally broke ground and got everything going. Forward movement, got some foundation going down, beams going up. I said, oh snap, look at Neverland. Y'all know that Nene used to call Chateau Charade Neverland. Cause where was it? I said, look at Neverland getting some foundation down. Okay then. Tisha's still annoyed that all the projects are taking too long. Even Kimmy said, Marcel do a good job, but it's gonna take forever. It's gonna take forever. And even last season, remember they were kind of essentially interviewing contractors for the new space, and she didn't really want to go with Marcel because he takes so long on his projects, but looks like they did. Maurice probably was like, babe, I'll be real with you, ain't no way I'm going with somebody other than my brother. And it is what it is. So they got all these projects going on. They got Scott Manor going on. They got Tisha's brokerage firm. Jesus. And also Kimmy and Reese's restaurant, Street Joe Malone. Something about some Joe, baby. Something about some Joe. So they're talking about all the projects. She's like, oh, you really moving along over on Sweet Joe, you know. You over there getting it done. He's like, I work hard on all my projects. She was like, yeah, but I'm just saying, look like you're really moving along over there, and I want my stuff done first. He was like, you want your stuff done first? Yeah, I want my stuff done first. Okay, Tisha, you know, I just had to change some HVAC stuff around, but, you know, 30 days, 30, 45 days. Okay, 30 days. Okay, business days. No, 30 days. I said, okay. All right. We gonna see. We're really in the season, so we gonna see. Next, we see Maurice and Marquez meet up. Look like Marquez came up there to one of Reese's properties, one of his little conference rooms type deal. Marquez is telling him his side of the story about walking into that lady house like he lived there. Talking about, well, my daughter had all this stuff. Okay. So he claims that he ain't divorced Trish yet because the kids' names was left off the paperwork. Reese is looking confused like, what? Okay. He also mentions that he sees why Trisha loves Ken because he was like, yeah, he called me to smooth things out. First, I was like, he got motives. First hour went by, second hour go by, 3 hours go by. I'm like, I see why Trisha loved this dude because Ken is just like her dad. And that's good for her and yada, yada, yada. And I can never be him. So, you know, I get it. So he said when they talked one-on-one, oh, I already said that. He also says that, Marquez says that his own dad told him this marriage wouldn't last 5 years. So he basically hung on in the marriage for like 10 years just to be like, see, Dad, it lasted. You said it wouldn't last. And they just been miserable in love since the beginning, it seems like. That is insane to me. In this day and age where women, we can go get jobs. We can get bank accounts. We don't need men to live. And you just gonna stay in a relationship for years and years and years unhappy. Whew. All right. So then he's just like, yeah, but if I wanted her back, I could have her. You know, I gave her to Ken. That's why she did file for divorce. She don't want a divorce. I said, he might not be lying, y'all. Trisha do act like if Marquez improved by 15%, she would want him back. But she done dug her heels in the ground with Ken. Well, he done dug his heels in the ground with Ken. So, optics wise, I don't think he would ever let her leave. So they start talking about, oh, he want to be cool enough to go on family vacations together. And yeah, you know, and I'll get a girlfriend and we'll all be on family vacation like one big happy family. Reese was looking at him like, maybe not. Probably not. Tisha and the son, MJ, is in the car. She's being all loving because she's going to miss him. It's his 18th birthday, so she's feeling sentimental. He wants to go off to college in Michigan. She said that's too far, but of course, Marceau is cool with that because that's where he's from. MJ plays the mess out of his mama. He says he loves his daddy more, but essentially in teenager talk, he says that he appreciates her for keeping things in line. Like, you keep me going on the straight path or something like that. I said, now she's going to say, I love my daddy more because he's more fun and stuff. Yeah, he's so fun, and that's why I got to be the one to lay the law down because y'all playing too much, right? I said, dissing his mama. Marceau raising his son up in his image. Shall I tell you? Poor Tisha. Poor Tisha. I wonder how the girls treat her. I wonder if they're daddy's girls or if they see that their daddy is, you know, side-eyeable. So they be with their mama like, whoo, he getting on my nerves. And everybody was cracking up at the fact that MJ really gonna say he loved his daddy more when his daddy didn't even know he was allergic to peanuts. That is always the first thing that pops in my head too. So much so that my husband would be like, oh, that's the one that don't know that his son was allergic to peanuts. When he see me watching it, that's the son where he know if it was allergic to peanuts. So that's the part that really be killing me. It's like, oh, okay. Boys, I tell you. Now, lastly, the crazies meet up, y'all. The crazies. I'm just, okay. The crazies meet up. This is Ken, Trisha, and Marquez. And then they throw Sharon in the mix, right? So they talking about their feelings and the disrespect and setting boundaries. She said that she gonna bring Sharon in later because Marquez owe her an apology. I'm like, if that's the case, they owe each other an apology. Again, Marquez knocks on the door and just walks right in. Don't wait for nobody to say hello. Don't wait for nobody to open the door or nothing. I said, is production setting him up to do this? Because he already be mic'd. Because people like, well, why the doors ain't locked? They are filming a show. Production is probably in and out that door a million times in one scene. They probably got to get back to changing out this, changing out that, doing this, doing that, changing out messages. There's so much that could be going on for them to be walking back and forth, especially if they're going to be outside to mic. So mic this man. So it's giving production just like, just don't worry about it. I can just walk on in. I can imagine. I told y'all I'm watching this show Unreal. It's an old show, but I'm rewatching this show Unreal, and it's basically like the behind the scenes of a show like The Bachelor. It's a scripted series, and it's just showing how the producers be so evil and manipulative and how they create certain scenarios on these competition reality shows. So I was watching Love Island at the same time watching Unreal, so that was crazy. So now that's how my mind is always wired. So production was like, just walk in, just walk in. And so now Trisha is, you know, she's going to incense these men to fight because that's what she does best, okay? She's going to sit there and try to play innocent, try to make Marquez look like the crazy man while Ken screams his head off and the guys are like, I am man, hear me roar. Me good for family, me good for wife, me good for kids. You go. That's essentially like, it's just such a show of maleness. Show of maleness. I am the king of the jungle. No, I am the king of the jungle. That's what I get coming from that. So I just be like, all right. So they get in there. Oh yeah. She has since number 5. I'm thirsty. Marquez said, I'm thirsty. Can I get a drink? You know what? Next time I'm gonna bring my own bottle. Sharon get there, he gonna offer her a drink. You want something to drink? Well, I want something to drink too. Every time he say it, they look at him like he got 3 heads. Y'all can't offer this man a bottle of water now. They said, boy, stop playing with this drinking nothing in this house. Stop playing with me. They get to arguing back and forth about the divorce papers. She pull out the papers and, what is that? What is that? What is that? Showing Sharon, and Sharon just like, it has a, Sharon regret opening her mouth. Sharon thought she wanted a piece of this reality TV stuff. Sharon ain't ready, okay? Sharon over there stuttering and stammering, trying to make sure Ken don't kill nobody. So they sitting there going back and forth, and it gets to a point where he tells her that she's traumatizing the kids. Again, he ain't lied with that one, because Trisha be involving the son in these arguments, and it's really unsettling. She relies on the son because he's grown, 18, 19 years old. She relies on the son's emotional maturity more than she should. Who is the one that always calms down the argument? He always directs it towards the dad, because his dad is usually a little louder, a little more than Trisha. But Ken can get Trisha. Baby boy got to get his daddy. So she relies on that part. And then she calls him into the argument. Xavier, what happened with this? Did you remember this? What your dad said this? What happened? Xavier, what about this? That is so emotionally abusive for your child to have to referee their parents fighting. Y'all don't even live together no more. Y'all are already in the process of divorcing. Why put the kids through this? Why, Ebony? Why? So they are also talking about, what he said, that boy? These your kids, but this my family. I said, wait a minute. He was like, no, you her boyfriend. Like, calm down, dude. Don't try to act like you got to take over my kids and I got to come check in with you. And that's how Ken act. Ken act like my kids got to come check in with him to get the kids. Like, it's like, relax, my guy. Yes, he should be present and consistent and things of that nature. They allude to him not being, but it seems like he's being, well, we don't see a lot. So, who knows? But it just can't be doing the most. Moral of the story, can't be doing the most. So next, where we at? The divorce papers. They showed the papers. The dance stuff. Like with Zaria, I'm the one to do the teachers. I'm the one to do all of this. I'm taking care of the kids. I'm taking them to dance. Matter of fact, are you going to the dance stuff? You going to Zaria dance stuff tomorrow? Of course I'm going to Zaria dance stuff tomorrow. I gave you the money for it, didn't I? $500, man. You just don't. You don't know this stuff costs. You don't know how much this stuff costs. I said, not you downplaying this man's contribution. Not you downplaying this man's contribution. Calm down. Marquez tells Trisha that she is the problem. I said she is. She is, because this doesn't have to be this way. The men are who they are. Marquez is a little bit immature. He's gonna antagonize the situation himself. He wants Trish to get riled up, but Trish wants the exact same thing out of him. She wants him to get riled up so she can be like, see, I told y'all he was crazy. See what I'm talking about? So it's just, you should be the one that's refereeing, girl. You should be the one facilitating the calmness, the understanding in this co-parenting situation. So they all arguing, and Ken jumps up and he charging at him, and he all in Marquez's face, because Marquez did stand up first, but it didn't feel like he was standing up in a threatening type of manner, and he didn't get any closer to Ken. I feel like he actually got further away from Ken, so it just wasn't in a threatening manner in any way. But it triggered Ken, baby, because Ken popped up and he all in his face. You need to sit down and you need to get out. You need to sit down and get up. Sharon is like, Ken, get back here, Ken. She's trying to get Ken back, and it's just like, Jesus, okay? Marquise looking like he finna throw a vase and run. Ken looking like he finna ball this boy up and throw him across the street. Like, it's looking a mess. It's looking a mess, y'all. I said, what are we watching, Lord? What y'all got us watching out here? And yeah, that's what we watched. The episode was essentially every scene being the same conversation. The only scene that wasn't the same conversation was Tisha and her son and Destiny and Martell. But every other scene, it was giving Martell and Trisha, Martell and Trisha, Martell and Trisha. I mean, I said Martell. Marquez and Trisha, Marquez, Ken and Trisha, Marquez, Ken and Trisha, Ken and Trisha, Ken and Trisha, Martell. The whole episode, and it's just like, I get that they have a lot of mess going on, but it's not entertaining enough to truly carry an episode. But I guess, you know, it was only half filler episode and half mess, because baby, that end was some mess. So I guess it wasn't too bad overall. But yeah, y'all, that was episode 2. I am enough. They so rude for that. I'd be offended. So make sure y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, comment, let me know if y'all are watching Love and Marriage Huntsville and what y'all thought about my review. Until next time, bye.